Senator Ernst.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here today, Mr. Rosenstein, and for appearing before the committee today. I am not a lawyer. I'm not going to apologize for that. I appreciate some of the eloquent speeches that we have heard here earlier, that we have heard a lot of passion coming out of a lot of people, and I appreciate that. I'm just here as an American and as an Iowan, and most Iowans aren't lawyers. But I can tell you that most Iowans are sitting back, whether they're watching C-SPAN, Fox News, CNN, whatever today, and they're saying, what the heck has gone on in these institutions? You know, I was a kid watching CBS or whatever back home, cross-legged in front of my TV and watching all these law enforcement shows and thinking, God, how awesome is the FBI? You know, to a small rural farm kid, that's a big deal. You know, to see those blue jackets with those yellow letters. And it really is very awe-inspiring. But what we have seen in the last couple of years has really tarnished the FBI's their reputation. It's tarnished DOJ's reputation. And I don't know that a lot of kids nowadays are looking at the FBI and saying, wow, someday I'd love to be wearing that blue jacket. Because there are some real issues there that need to be addressed. Not just by prosecutors and others, but there are answers that need to be had for the American people. And I'm sorely disappointed in everything that's gone on. And I'm glad that we're having this hearing. Many of my colleagues across the dais would like us to believe that we can't walk and chew gum at the same time here. You know, for heaven's sakes, we have convenience store clerks that are working every day through the pandemic, essential workers. I think that here in Congress, we're essential workers too. And so we should be here addressing some of these issues. So I am glad you are here and that you're willing to step up and take this criticism. I understand you're not serving as the DAG any longer, but you're here to answer questions for us. So thank you for doing that. We've got to get to the bottom of this. Under the Obama-Biden administration and with the holdovers, the integrity of the entire FBI has been called into question by a political element that existed and maybe still exists within the FBI. And this is not something that we can allow to continue to happen. We need the FBI. We need the good guys back. And I know that there's still many of them that are out there, but we need the American people to understand this is an agency that is there to protect us. You know, it is again, the epitome of what we should see in our agencies, and that has been damaged. So whether you're a Democrat or Republican, independent or whatever, we really need the old FBI back. We don't need what we've seen in the last number of years. So Mr. Rosenstein, you were confirmed as the DAG in April of 2017, and we know that you had direct contact with at least one of those FISA applications while serving in that position, and I'm sure that you've dealt with many others. But speaking generally on the topic of FISA surveillance, do you typically want the subject to know that you're conducting an investigation on them?
Absolutely not, for a number of reasons.
Can you expound
Yes.
why not?
Well, number one, the whole principle is it's a covert investigation. If the suspects know you're looking at them, obviously they're much less likely to engage in open communications that would allow you to discover what they're up to, number one. And number two, which is a point that I emphasized, Senator, throughout my career, the people we investigate are presumed innocent, and we have a responsibility not to damage them by the investigation. The investigation is not supposed to be the punishment, and so it's very important not to disclose those investigations.
Very good. But on June 29th, 2017, you were briefed on and signed then that third FISA renewal application regarding Carter Page, extending the FISA surveillance of Page until September of 2017. And at that point, at which the third FISA renewal application came to your desk for your signature, the news about the surveillance had already been leaked to the media. Is that correct?
Correct.
So at that point, Carter Page knows that he's being surveilled, he's being investigated, but the FBI wants to continue conducting surveillance on him. Why did they want to do that?
Because they believed that the extension might generate relevant evidence. The fact that it had already been publicly known obviously is a factor you would expect to consider. But my understanding was that notwithstanding that, they still believed that the application met the standard for generating relevant evidence, Senator. But I think that's a very insightful and valid question.
Yeah, it is a very valid question. And so why did it happen then? Did you raise any questions about that when you were briefed on that third application?
Yes.
And what was that conversation?
It's the fourth application, so it's the third extension, I suppose.
Third extension, thank you.
But yes, and I was told that they had considered that, and they believed that it warranted one more extension. My understanding was it would be, and in fact was, the last extension. But it's based on, the legal standard actually requires the affidavit to set forth new information, and there is new information in the third application, renewal, fourth application, that appeared to justify extending it.
Well, to just, again, an average person, not a lawyer, I would say that the reason to continue surveillance on someone that already knows they're being watched is truly as a political tool. It's political interference. And I think that's why so many of us are so disappointed in the FBI, in DOJ, and we have to see those corrections. So again, I am thankful that we are having this hearing. I think it is very pertinent that we address this now as we're involved in another presidential cycle. We really do have to find and hold accountable those people that committed these crimes, what I see as crimes. So thank you very much,
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Chairman, if I could just respond to one or two brief points, actually. Number one, with regard to the political interference suggestion, it was my understanding at the time, Senator, that Mr. Page, at least in June of 2017, hadn't been involved in a campaign, wasn't working in the administration. So I did not view that as targeting any kind of political information. I understand the question, and I think we're in a different context, obviously, in June than we were in September. But the Inspector General Horowitz's report, I think, accurately reflects that the application itself appeared to state a proper lawful basis. And obviously, I wouldn't have approved it if I believed it was targeted at getting campaign information. And the second issue, I really appreciate your raising, because I grew up with those television shows, too. It's one of the reasons I spent 30 years in law enforcement. And since I'm here and under oath, Senator, I think it's worth taking the opportunity to tell you that I have worked with many federal agents over the course of my 30-year career, many attorneys in the Department of Justice. And I want to reassure you, Senator, that some of the finest people that I know are employees of the FBI and the Department of Justice. So while these are serious problems, they need to be fixed. I want you to know that that confidence that you have in the men and women of the FBI is justified. Thank you.
Thank you.